Hey, it's Wixman Ray here. I'm recovering from my drive today. I made it. I'm staying here in Colorado for the night. Trying to wind down. So actually, doing this weather kind of relaxes me. So, and I've got to get up early and travel again tomorrow. So, yeah, we're gonna do a quick video tonight for you. Relatively quiet weather. I mean, there's a couple, spots with a little bit of weather, at least not sunshine. So yeah, so here we go. So look, we're looking at our infrared satellite. That's because it's almost midnight out here in Colorado. We're in mountain time zone out here. That would mean it's what 2 a.m. on the East Coast and almost 11 o'clock out on the West Coast in Pacific time zone. So yeah, we got some clouds. We got this moisture streaming in the Pacific Northwest and up into Montana. There's a little bit of rain here, and I believe there's some precip out in this area. We'll take a look though. I can't remember. And then we've got some. This is mostly higher type clouds streaming over the top of this high pressure ridge that's developed over the western United States with trough of low pressure, and you kind of see it by the way the clouds are in this direction. So trough of low pressure engulfs most of the eastern half of the U.S., and that's why it's colder. This is where the coolest air is across the continental United States, and then you can kind of outline it going straight up here. This was our big weather maker that we had. We still got some weather from this system down across Florida there, so we'll look at that here in a minute. Um, Otherwise, yeah, there's a little bit of snow going on back into this area, and also some rain and snow out here in parts of Missouri, so we'll take a look at that. Um, and then this is just kind of some cloud cover, nothing producing any kind of significant weather. Back up here in the Northeast, you got some lake effect bands off of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. Um, Not sure if there's much going on in these lakes. We'll have to take a look. Yeah, so that's what's going on there. I'll quickly go through this where I fall asleep on you. So yeah, looking at our surface observations with the um, radar overlaid. We've got some rain out there in the Pacific Northwest, basically from Seattle northward. So that's kind of where it's hanging out right now, and it's in the 50s, so not too bad. It's warmed up from the way it was a few days back. And then we got some rain out here if it's reaching the ground out here in part near Spokane and northern Idaho, and maybe a little bit of mountain snow out there. But this is really light stuff, so nothing too significant. Looks like we got a little bit of winds. I got yeah, we got some strong gusty winds coming off the mountains there in Montana. So it looks like we've gusted up to 40. That's almost 50, 60 miles an hour there. They do have some high wind warnings out here. Not sure when they're in effect for, but that's what these boxes are here. Yeah, so it's getting to be late at night out there, but relatively still not bad out there. It's in the 40s and 50s, 60s as you head over towards California. Still 77 at Vegas at almost 11 o'clock. And in the 70s across SoCal. I mean, a good chunk of California's in the 70s still tonight. And then 83 at Phoenix. Yeah, so 79 there near Yuma. 60s back in New Mexico, 50s in a couple spots. Yeah, I'm not going to go over all this, but most of the South, you got some 50s and 40s in Texas, so it's starting to rebound slowly out here. It's kind of cool though out here. You go from like Shreveport over, especially over to the east. It's in the 30s back here, from Panhandle, of Florida, all the way to New Orleans, up to Atlanta, Birmingham, Jackson, Mississippi. Little Rock's even 45, so you get the cold air kind of back in here. Even in the 50s at Tampa, 57 and rain at Miami. So we'll zoom in down there. That's where we saw them clouds. Yes, there's so looks like some showers. There could be a little rumble of thunder and that stuff across South Florida. So that's about it down there. Yeah, I mean, you go up farther, you go north, it's in the 29 up here in North Carolina, 30s in Tennessee. Yeah, teens all the way from, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, New York. We got some lake effects coming up. Looks like near Syracuse. Get some heavier bands off the lakes there, so they got a lake effect snow warning for that area. Got some bands coming off Lake Erie over down in here. A couple bands here coming into Rochester. And then we got a band there up near Ashtabula. And I can't remember what this site is. Yeah, Ashtabula. That's what it was. Yeah, so there's a couple lake effect bands. Not a whole lot going on out here. We've got this system's kind of switched the winds around, so they're not coming off the lakes right now. But we got this little clipper moving through, Minnesota into Wisconsin, Illinois, and over towards Indiana, a little bit back into Kansas City. Some real light snow. You might get a couple inches accumulation out of this. It's raining in Kansas City. Even down at Whiteman Air Force Base. So this stuff, there might be some, I'm not seeing any snow reports, but there might be a little bit of light snow going on back here if that stuff's reaching the ground. That's about it really for precip. These were those clouds. There's not much coming out of it. Yeah, and we're starting to rebound out here through Kansas, already in the 50s out here tonight. It's midnight out here, so yeah. All right, that's it for the observations. So relatively quiet. A couple of storm systems, smaller storm, nothing like what we've seen. So let's get you. I think I got that. Let's reload this stuff here. So I'm going to show you what I like to show is our 500 millibar chart at 18,000 feet with the vorticity, which is what causes spin in the atmosphere, and upward vertical motion, which causes clouds and precip, and sometimes just clouds. It depends on how much energy and what's going on throughout all the parts of the atmosphere. So yeah, you can see this. There's a high pressure centered over Arizona, Southern California. So that's why it's getting very warm out there. It's going to be up over 100, I think, tomorrow and the next day down in this area. Death Valley and Phoenix and Yuma and parts of SoCal, or at least approaching 90s. A lot of this area will probably be in the 80s tomorrow or approaching it. 70s to 80s. So very, very warm for mid-March here. Yeah, we're just past the mid-March point. So yeah, we got this ridge of high pressure over the western part of the U.S., and then you see it kind of dips down, and this is our trough of low pressure, and that is basically why we see the colder air back here in this area, the eastern part of the United States, and that's what caused that big storm that's moved offshore now and is out over the Atlantic. But it's still affecting Florida, South Florida anyways. Yeah, so just some little weak, this is our weak disturbance that we saw the snow here through. You can kind of see just a weak, it's really hard to tell, but it's a weak system coming through, causing that little bit of light snow and clouds through that area. And yeah, and then you got some energy with moisture moving across the Pacific Northwest into, the northern Rockies with, some intermittent light rain and snow showers out there. So yeah, okay, so I'll just kind of scroll through this and show you what's happening. So here's this little clipper system. This is by tomorrow, and by tomorrow night it's gone. Going out to sea there, going bye-bye. Looks like we got some more energy coming out of Canada. Looks like it'll skirt this general area, Minnesota, parts of Wisconsin, Michigan, and parts of the Northeast as we head into Friday there. Whoops. So yeah, but same general pattern, going all the way through. This is Saturday. I had a weak disturbance here. I don't think that'll cause much. It's pretty dry out there. Yeah, and here's that. Here's another little wave. That's that one wave we just saw. It's going out to sea. So the one that's causing snow today will be gone by Saturday. So, and then yeah, same general pattern. You do see kind of a flat. The trough kind of moves east, and this kind of flattens out through here. And so we're going to see a rebound in temperatures out here as we get towards the end of the week. Um, the northeast and this general area up here will stay cool through the week, probably below normal until, well, let's see. So yeah, so not much change. The northeast is going to stay in the cool through the weekend. It looks like it tries to go more east to west or a zonal type pattern with the fast moving systems. Looks like another little system there on Sunday moving across the northern parts of the central plains. Yeah, so, and this ridge will flatten out towards the weekend. So that'll cause the temperatures out here to start to cool down a little bit and may bring a little bit of precipitation. We'll take a look. All right. I'm going slow because I'm tired. So we'll look at this here real fast. Go fast and furious here. So this is for tonight. There's that little bit of snow, stuff in the northwest, and then yeah, that little bit of stuff in the South Florida. So we'll go through midday tomorrow. Yeah, it still lingers across South Florida, so you'll see some showers and thunderstorms. Still cooler than normal from this general area. This thing will still be spitting out some snow up into parts of Indiana and Michigan. Maybe a little precip farther south into Kentucky, but I mean, this is really weak. Um, Also a little breezy, through tomorrow, but I mean, maybe gusting to 30 in a couple spots, 20 to 30, but nothing too terribly strong. Nothing like those last couple storms we had last week. Same thing up northwest for tomorrow. Not much change up there around Seattle. It'll be teasing Portland. Looks like it might get into you by Thursday down in Portland. And yeah, so here's another clipper. So this, wait, hold on. This is that same one. So yeah, you see this one. It kind of skirts the northeast with some rain and snow, but nothing to really be too concerned about. This is that next little wave. Kind of stays up in Canada. May catch the UP of Michigan. You know, might be a mix of rain and snow up there. It looks like the temperature is going to start warming to near freezing or just above freezing up there by Friday morning. Yeah, maybe some lingering snow up in Maine on Friday morning with this low up in Quebec. Still the same out for Friday out in the Pacific Northwest. Here's that wave. So it starts developing a little bit of rain across, from New York State down towards, Ohio, Cincinnati area, West Virginia, even a little bit into Kentucky. So some light rain there, a little bit of snow on the north end up in parts of the northeast there. It's still raining out in that area. Yeah, so it looks like by Saturday it kind of starts to dry out here in the Pacific Northwest. Yeah, maybe some showers up to the north of Seattle, but yeah. And then it looks like, yeah, so we get this low that develops coming out of the Rockies there on late Saturday. So we'll get some snow up, kind of skirting the border up there and up northern Michigan, UP of Michigan. Looks like some rain and snow across these parts. It's going to get windy too. Looks like some pretty good winds, in Montana, parts of Idaho, and even into Nevada. At least a little breezy. Yeah, even into Utah as we go into Saturday night. That low pressure develops, and yeah, it seems like this general area up here is gonna get a few inches of snow probably, but that's a quick mover. Skirts north and then goes to the northeast by Sunday into Monday. A little bit of rain on the back end here where it's warm, but you can see it's going to start cooling off as we go into next Monday next week. So the Northeast never really gets in on the real warm weather like most of the rest of the U.S. will be. But for the most part, except for the exception of, from Montana and down through Iowa, Illinois, and back this way, most of the area is going to be warm, warming up. This area might be a little cooler because they get that little bit of northerly winds coming through. That's as far as I'm going to go. So this looks like the strongest system, but mainly a wind producer and then a little bit of snow and rain with this system. Maybe some heavier snow up across the Northeast and, northern Michigan. But yeah, so nothing too significant. But winter hasn't quite given up its hold. You guys up there in Pennsylvania, you need to keep that groundhog kind of at bay for a little bit longer so April can arrive and you can get some springtime weather for maybe for good. But you never know. In April, you can still get some significant, even winter storms. All right, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm getting tired. I'm not going to show you that. That was from the other day. One last thing here. Oh, two last things actually. So this is the last 24 hours, at least reported early this morning. Yeah, they ended up with, up here 3 to 4 feet up here in the so they got this they get they've had a ton of snow up there and that's probably pretty normal. This is where all that lake effect. We had upwards over a foot, maybe 2 feet up here in parts of northern Michigan, and then off the lakes, varies 3 to 5, and then a few 6 to 8s. Yeah, back here, this was from the other day. When did that go through? Sunday? Whatever day that was, Sunday morning. I can't remember now. Saturday night. They got a couple inches around Kansas City and parts of northern Missouri and southern Iowa. Got an inch or two. And then this is where they had some, they had almost, what, 8, 9 inches in West Virginia. A little bit of light snow up here across the Northeast. Less than an inch, but, little skiff as we call them. Some heavier snows off the lakes here, almost a foot there. So yeah, generally less than the rest of the area was generally like, less than 6 inches basically. Okay, one last thing here and we'll call it a night. So this is for tomorrow, our max temps. So yeah, this is where the cold air is. This is for the highs tomorrow, 20s and 30s up from the lakes, Great Lakes into the Northeast. 40s a little farther south, and you still got some cool air, back here into Georgia and the Carolinas. Starts to warm up. Still probably a little bit below normal back here, but should be a nice day across South Florida, warming up into the 70s. And then all the warm air, you see this, man, look at that. Just a couple days ago, they were what, in the 20s in Kansas City. Now they're approaching 70 tomorrow. So, yeah, almost all the plains, except for, maybe over here, are going to start warming in the 70s and 80s. And the entire West, except for we're up into the parts of these areas, uh, it's going to be like 70s, 80s, and then we got 90s, triple digits probably down in near Phoenix and whatnot. So yeah, into Desert Valley area, the deserts of South. SoCal. I am so tired. I gotta go to bed. All right, so Wednesday, you can kind of see, yes. So it kind of slipped a little bit northward, so the 60s and 70s start reaching back into this area, but you still got 30s and 40s back here for as we head into the middle of the week. About the same out west. It's just you see that it's getting even warmer. They're going to be like probably 110 in a couple places. Probably what approaching 105 in Phoenix. So going to be getting hot down there. Going into Thursday, same general thing. Yeah, it's still really warm. Yeah, and look at this. You can kind of see. Look at that. Yeah, see it. So it's slowly warming up through here. Um, we start breaking into the 40s back here. Still some 30s up farther north. So yeah, that cold air is not going to go away up here too much. It'll moderate a little bit. But yeah, look at that. 81 in Kansas City. It'll be in the 70s. Still 56 up around Chicago. Still a little chilly, but let's see what Friday looks like. Friday, boom, see ya. It's getting warmer. 66. Yeah, even way up into here. It's just the northern fringe where that next, and then it's staying cool up here, like I told you. But look at that, man. We're approaching 100 in Texas, 90s, 80s, 85 in Kansas City. Same thing in the West. It does start to cool down if you want to take a look. See, yeah, see here it was in the 70s and now, so we got a front dropping in by the weekend across the Great Basin and Northern Rockies. So, all right, and then I'll show you Saturday here. Yeah, and then you see it didn't change a lot up here, but yeah, you saw it got colder right up in this area, like I was telling you on Saturday. Um, yeah, still hot down in this area. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, it gets pretty warm. So the southern half of the U.S. is still pretty warm. Not bad in the middle, but yeah, the cold air will be locked up in here. So we'll look at one more day, Sunday. Yeah, so you see that little dip again. We'll see that next frontal system. It'll drop it back down to about what it is tomorrow and Thursday out there. Out here, it'll moderate a little bit. Still really nice. Cools off a little bit. So I told you that ridge will flatten. So yeah, instead of 80s up here, they drop about 10 degrees. Down here, they're dropping, almost 10 degrees. Yeah, but entire south is still fairly nice. All right, that's all I've got. Enough of my droning on. Appreciate all you 42 wonderful, beautiful subscribers, and hopefully we'll get another 4,042 in the future. Yeah, so hey, I'm gonna head out here and call it a night. Wixman Ray out.